What's going on, guys? Antrod here. Today, I wanted to do something I've never done before. I wanted to kind of show you guys how I made my song, Memories. I don't know when this video is coming out. I kind of want to get it done before the song is released, but if it is, this is a sneak peek. If it's not a sneak peek. The point being is I'm going to be showing you how I made the song Memories. So if you haven't listened to the song, I recommend you check it out after this video. If you have listened to the song, now you can see how it was kind of made. So anyway, introduction's over. Let's go ahead and get right into how I made this song. I'm going to kind of separate this song between 2 to 3 parts, mainly because there is like 2 to 3 different kinds of things. There's the main stuff, the drop, and the build-ups. As you go through this video, I just want to make it clear, whenever I say raw, I'm referring to just beatboxing with no effects. So I'll usually say, like, here's the affected version, here's the raw version. So that way you guys kind of understand, like, this is just the beatbox version, this is the affected beatbox version. This song was started around 2020. I had started building it in 2020, so my living conditions were much different back then than they are now. That being said, the programs that I had back then were Magix, Music Maker, and Audacity. I recorded all of the raw stuff in Audacity, and I added effects to it in Magix. The furthest I got was making it in Audacity. Oh my god. How did I not hear how bad any of this was? There's so much stuff in here that it's just got hissing and popping and gross. Just grossness. I gotta fix all of it. I had to go through every single sample, every single sound, and redo them. That was the first step. And the reason why it took so long to get to the point of doing all this, at the time of me using Magix would crash. I couldn't even load the song into Magix because there was so much samples and so much sound and so much going on, it would just crash. I couldn't even do anything. So I had to get Fruity Loops. And once I got Fruity Loops and I practiced with it, I was like, okay, now I want to start making it, and I did. I started doing it. Once I had cleaned up all the sounds to where I had good, clean samples to work with, then came down to all of the affecting. So the first thing I started to affect was the main instrumentals. The only thing not beatboxing in all of the instrumentals is the pan hitting sound. That sound was the top of a frying pan, like the lid that you put onto a pot, and a rubber spatula. And you just hit them together until you get the right sound with the right frequency, and then you can start playing with it. The next couple sounds that are in there were like the drums, the clicks, I call them the clicks, the guitar, and the bass guitar. When it came down to the guitar and the bass guitar, I wanted to make it as real as possible. So when I was making it, I was like, okay, well, there needs to be the guitar, which is upfront and light and grungy, and then there's the bass guitar that's mainly there for texture. So when I was beatboxing it, I knew I needed to have the guitar grungy. So it's like, okay, and then it was, and then next, that's how I got the guitar sound. And then there was the bass, which got rid of that grunge sound in the back of my throat and just focused on the. So you had this really grungy front, and then this just deep texturized back. And then there was one other sound that I added because I felt like it needed something else to fill the room. So I added a sound that I like to call the grunge. And it's just a sound, there's no like meaning behind it. It's literally just a sound to just be in the back of your head, be in the back of the headphones or in the room, just to give you that feeling that it's full and like kind of scratching almost. I just wanted some kind of texture that was in there to add to everything else going on to fill the silence, basically. The only other sound I had to add effects to was the like a guitar razor and a downward guitar sound. So And when I added effects to it, it gave me a totally different sound than what I started with. And I thought, I wonder if I can make that a little bit more interesting. So I added an automation clip, played with that for a few minutes, and then I got the sound I wanted. When it came to the build-up, I knew what I wanted. I wanted you to be uncomfortable. I really wanted to take you from this is a rap into something different. I really wanted to focus on just making you uncomfortable and making you feel like you have people whispering in your ear, walking through the headphones. And then the build-up, the guitar again, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, that was everything related to the first part and the build-up. But when it came to the second build-up, I was at work and it hit me. I thought, I want to put you into my mind. So I need doors. I need lights. I need the sound of echoing. So I went looking for samples. I found a door I found a door rattling sample, a light turning on sample. Then I found the sound of echoing, which was actually the sound of prison. And it was just the echoing of all the prison inmates. And I threw that in there. And I really loved how everything came out. And then from there, I wanted to give you the impression that you were starting at the end of the hallway and coming back. You start at the front of the hallway and you're walking this way. So I wanted to give the impression that as you're walking this way, there's a door here, there's a door there, and you're walking further and further away. So I wanted to give the impression that as you're walking, you hear the door, and then you hear another door, ting, 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 ting. And so that was the hardest part, was to give you the impression that you're in the hallway walking. The sound for that, which was a totally different sound, was started as this. Started as... From there, I was like, I really wanted to go do kind of like a... So what if I added automation? So I added the automation clip, spiked it, and that tied right into the next drop. When it came to the drop was a difficult one. It was a difficult thing to tackle because I wasn't sure what I wanted. Like, I knew what I wanted. I wanted you to be going oof when it dropped, but I wasn't sure. So my best friend, Indy, he's been on the channel here a couple of times. I asked him to give me some examples of songs that have rock, rap, and dubstep. And he introduced me to an artist who has recently changed his name to Inhuman. And he had a song called Fade to Black, which was just this amazing, intense rap piece that dropped into this grungy that I was just like, I love that sound. I love that texture. That's what I want to do with Memories. I want you to just feel that. What was more interesting about it is I heard it and went, how can I make that with just beatboxing? That was the first sound I had to focus on because I couldn't build the rest of it until I had that sound. So first step was to figure out how to get it. I basically just recorded, added a little bit more texture to my throat, whatever I could to get that sound. And then I think I lowered it octaves to give it that electronic sound, that electronic feel to it, where it didn't just sound like a guy bluffing his lips. And then from there, I added a ton of different textures. I added Destructor, which gave it a really nice distorted sound. And then from there, it was a matter of trying to make sure I got the chink right. So I went to piano roll and went chink. And then I copied that sound, made it a second sound, lowered that one even more, and increased the bass. And that's where I got the final sound. There was another one in there that I used in there. I called it the purr, because when I recorded it, it sounded like a purr. And I think with the way I recorded it was, I wasn't sure. I did some weird beatbox noise. I was like, that could be cool, like to give you that extra texture in your ears. Like, what the hell is that, So once I cleaned it up and put it into FL and started playing with it, what started as one noise became something totally different that I was not expecting, and I really loved it. And it gave the drop that extra meat that it needed to really sell it home. But I think, to me, with the most interesting sound of the entire thing, I mean, my favorite sound in this entire piece is definitely that grungy And I've been introducing that more and more in my music. Memories is not the first project that I have that kind of sound. I have a couple of songs where that sound is introduced. But I think the sound that was most interesting was the snare. It started as this really simple, wimpy, and then I started adding effects to it, and it went from this really wimpy to this loud, strong, and I was shocked that that worked. I was honestly just playing with effects, and I think I threw Destructor on it, and Flangus, and a bunch of other stuff, and all of a sudden, it sounded like I was hitting an anvil, and I fell in love with that sound because that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted you to feel that snare every time it hit, and I fell in love with it. I loved it, I was happy with it, and that became the snare that I used. And that was it. That's what I was looking for in the drop. From there, it was just playing with the strummers, change them and make them sound interesting so that your ears didn't get bored. And then that was it. When it came to the second drop, I was heavily inspired by Bring Me the Horizon by Parasite Eve. The song was fantastic, and the drop for that was, and it threw you right into this insane dubstep-y electronic sound. And I'm like, yeah, I want that sudden piece. The second drop was focused heavily on making sure you got that woof and then right into the drop. That's exactly what happened. I really liked, I was like, memories, doof, drop you. And that's how I made Memories. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown on how I created the song. I hope you guys enjoyed the song. If you haven't listened to it yet, I'll leave it down in the description below. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out Memories. And without further ado, you guys have a fantastic, beautiful day. Antrod out.
All the memories in my head are a bit of